Welcome, y'all.
Hey, babe.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited that you're here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're actually the co-host and you just kind of brought your dad to come.
Yeah.
Detective Tommy.
Hello there.
How are you?
Everything is beautiful.
It's been a while.
Yes, too long.
I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, thank you.
I think this is your third visit, or is it your fourth?
It's the third.
Third. I've
Fourth.
the two ladies say fourth, and you also brought your lovely wife Paula, who says she's not going to talk, but she is mic'd if she wants to. So, okay, here's the deal.
Okay.
You were here for the very first time quite a long time ago, and so I am going to ask you some questions, kind of like an interview. But if you feel, I got to tell you the story that happened, or blah, 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 just break on in there. And
yeah, my wife knows I have a bad habit of that. So.
Yes. We have Colin in the peanut gallery. So you're not mic'd, but if you want to ask him something, just let me know and I'll ask for you. We have Harold camera switching, who also said he's not going to make any comments, but we shall see. Okay. So what I want to do is go back to the beginning when you were just a little baby cop. When did you decide? Were you a child when you said, I want to be a police officer? Or were you older? Or how did that come about?
It came about, I always had the inkling, I guess, as a child that being a cop was a pretty cool thing. But it came to fruition late in my adolescence, I guess it is. I was working and selling industrial insulation.
Oh.
And my company was sold out to another company, actually here in Gonzales. But I was left without a job, and I left on my own. I said, I can't work for these people. So I left on my own, and I went and visited my mom and dad, went and had supper with them. And my dad said, son, what are you going to do? I said, Dad, you're not going to believe this, but I've always wanted to be a cop. And first words out of his mouth was, you're not going to make any money doing that. I said, Dad, I'm making a lot of money now and I'm miserable. I said, that's something that I've always had in me, that, being a cop thing. And he said, well, have you thought about where it is you'd like to work? With the city, the parish, the state. And
you want to be in the sheriff's department?
Like, yeah. And I said, well, I have a couple of friends with the sheriff's department. And I said, they like what they do. And, I think I wouldn't mind giving that a shot. And that was on a Friday. And my dad gets on the phone right there in front of me and calls a friend of his.
Was it his cell phone that he got on?
Yeah, no. No, it was smoke signals. This was a long time ago.
He chiseled it out on the stone.
Absolutely. So he makes a phone call. And he told me, you need to drive out to Central and you're going to meet a man. His name's Red Rayford. I said, yes, sir. So I went out there, and the man, he met me at his home, lived out in the country. Yeah. Drove up there. I had a fancy car, and, he's looking at it. He says, you want to be a cop? He said, yeah. He said, you're not going to have any cars like that anymore. I'm like, okay, that's all right. And he said, well, so you want to work the sheriff's department? I said, yes, sir. He said, okay. He said, sat me down right there. We talked for about 15, 20 minutes. He makes a phone call and he says, this coming Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. You're going to go out to the parish prison and you're going to meet a man by the name of Lieutenant Benny Netherland.
Okay.
I said, okay, is that, we're doing an interview? He says, no, you're going to start working there.
Oh, shit.
That's what I said. I'm like, at a prison? And he said, yeah. So, okay.
I feel like that's like the shittiest place to start.
Actually, you know what? Looking back, it was one of the most beloved times in my career.
No kidding.
I had so much fun there because it's such a everybody was so nice, so friendly, except of course for the inmates.
I was about to say,
But-
what?
But well, I digress.
Okay.
Even some of the inmates, the trustees and all, and they're all the time in and out of trouble, so they always come back on trustee status. They're good old guys, just can't keep out of their way. But so I drive out there. I didn't even know what to wear.
Right.
I said, Mr. Rayford, I don't have a uniform. I said, don't wear. I said, what do I wear? He said, put on a pair of khakis and a pair of shoes and a polo shirt and go out there. They're going to fix you up. I'm like, okay. I said, wow, this is the way this happens. So
And you told your dad this on a Friday.
on a Friday.
And on Tuesday, you're working at the prison
Yep. East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Department.
in your khakis and your polo shirt. Okay.
Walk in there, never been in a jail or prison in my life. And I'm sure my eyes look like saucers, I was just walking in. But I was the anticipation. I mean, I didn't know what to expect.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't meet you at the gate. You show them your ID, and remember this a long time ago, in the early 80. So I show my ID. They click me in. I walk down this long sidewalk, get to the prison doors, and a trustee standing there, and he says, "Come on in." I'm like, I didn't know what he was. I didn't know till later he was a trustee. I didn't know.
But he was wearing a prison
Oh, he had on a
prison jumpsuit.
No, he had on white. He's wearing a white shirt, white pants.
Okay.
The prisoners all wear orange. So that's the way that they dress the trustees at that time. So went back there, and he took me straight to.
You saw this angel in front of you in all white.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I will tell you this. His name, I know his name. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Or
Why don't you just say his first name?
His name's Kenny.
Okay.
And he left an impression on me, obviously. But takes me there, introduces me to the lieutenant, and I was off to the races.
So how long did you stay in that position?
I stayed in that position about 2 years.
And
2
then
years.
were you like, I'm sick of this shit, I need to do something new? Or were they like, you got the shit, you need to be...
Well, if you're talking about with the sheriff's department, I actually stayed with the sheriff's department for almost 5 years.
But in the capacity of, I don't know, you weren't obviously a jailer. I mean, I
I
wouldn't...
worked at the jail. I worked as a medic there,
Oh.
where I would dispense medication to the prisoners.
Okay.
Right? Absolutely no training whatsoever. I could have been handing
The
them.
state of Louisiana.
Yes, indeed.
I was thinking that. I'm glad you said it,
Yeah.
Paula.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm working there, and then I transferred down to the downtown city jail.
Okay.
And
Did someone transfer you, or did you ask to be transferred?
I requested that.
Okay.
I wanted to go work at the jail, and so it's a much better environment. Everybody told me, "Yeah, go work at the jail. It's fun, man. They coming in live off the street.
Yeah.
You get to deal with them,
Yeah.
Yeah,
More exciting.
yeah. And I knew so many of them coming in on DUIs. Back then it was DWI.
Right. DWI.
Yeah, so
I still
I
call
see
it that.
Yeah, I see a lot of friends, but anyway,
It's like, bruh.
it was quite interesting. But I come in one night, and on our bulletin board, there's a recruitment poster for the city of Atlanta, and starting salary $18,716 a year.
And you were like, cha-ching.
Oh, I was making about $300 at the time. Like,
Right.
Man, are you kidding me?
That's quite a
I'm like
raise.
looking around. How come nobody else is taking this? you know?
Right.
But so I said, okay. I got the phone number. This was all pre-computer and all that.
Yeah.
So I made a call the next morning, because at that time I was working the night shift, and so I called the next morning and said, send me an application.
And they had to put it in snail mail.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
21 pages. And,
Wow.
they sent it to me, and it was a beautiful thing when I got it. And
so how long did it take after you filled out the 21 pages and returned it? Were they calling you like within a week after that?
No, actually, I had to do it twice. I did it, sent it in.
A postal service.
And I kept calling. When they send you an application, they also send you the name of your background, your recruitment coordinator. And so I sent it in. I waited. They told you it would take 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
To hear something. I don't hear anything after 6 weeks, and I'm counting down. I'm like, come on. Well, I
got the perpetual countdown going.
Yeah. So you're making $5.29 working.
Yeah. So I call there, and I'll speak to my background guy, and I said, sir, I sent in my application. He said, well, I don't see it. It hadn't gotten here. I said, okay. So he said, I said, can you send me another one? So they did, and went through the process. Long story short, after I was accepted and I went there, did all my testing, turns out this guy who was working background was destroying people's applications because I did not fit what he wanted.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
And he ended up getting pulled out of there and put on a foot patrol.
Wow.
Yeah, I made complaints. Several other people that I found out that were rookie or applicants coming in complained about this guy. And he was...
Seems like that should get you fired, not foot patrol.
Yeah, you would think, but unfortunately he was more or less a tenured guy. He had like 20 years on at the time.
Okay. He's just riding the wave out.
Yeah, but it's like how many people has he done this to?
Right.
But anyway, so I did that, and I went to... They started calling me to come in for all my different testing.
Did you have to go like through a police academy, any kind of thing at that point?
Yeah. Well,
when you worked in the jail, did you have a firearm?
No.
Okay.
But I did have a firearm. And at that time with East Baton Rouge Parish, you supplied your own weapon.
Oh, wow.
And you get to carry.
They really were broke.
Oh, you carry whatever you want.
Okay.
As long as you could qualify with it. I carried a .357 Magnum because I've watched a lot of movies. So I'm like, okay. I didn't do the 44 because, like Clint Eastwood.
You weren't trying to Dirty Harry it.
No. And they had a guy that worked in the jail, a sheriff's deputy, that made all of your leather, that they call it, which is your gun belt, your holsters. He handmade all of that stuff. And,
that would be worth some money today, man.
Oh, man. And so you get all that. Now, mind you, I worked there almost 5 years. I never once went through any academy whatsoever.
Right.
Carrying a gun.
Right.
I'm working extra jobs. I'm working at Cowboys nightclub. I'm working at
security.
I'm working for Floyd Brown, at his bar. I'm working all over the place carrying a gun. Have never done anything. No training or anything. You talk about they were taking a chance.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you worked an extra job back then, you got paid $10 an hour.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, but you had to give $1 back to the sheriff's department.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Like
if it weren't for us, you wouldn't have this gig.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like whose slush fund was this?
Right.
So, and that was that. I went in under the original sheriff at that time was Teal Amos.
Teal Amos.
Yeah. Wait, Teal was his son, his crooked son. But anyway, I went to work for him, but then Al Litchfield, Sheriff Litchfield came along, was elected in the office. And
was it Elmer?
Elmer Litchfield.
Elmer.
Look at you. But yeah, Elmer.
She's heard this story before.
No,
he really doesn't go into that much detail.
So yeah.
Okay, so you're in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. You go through a police academy. Mm-hmm. How long does that take? Like 6 weeks?
At that time, no, it's 21 weeks.
21 weeks?
Yeah.
Once you get out, are you, what's the, is it called a beat cop at that point? What do you call it?
No, what you do is you go through the academy, and it's 21 weeks. At that time, it's a paramilitary academy.
Okay.
So you start off the class with 36 people, and it's very physical. You're running typically in midway through the academy, you're running 8 miles a day. You're doing an hour of what they call calisthenics. And I mean,
it's very physical.
Oh, yeah. And you're boxing, you're fighting.
It's like a boot camp.
Yeah. Yeah. But they teach you federal law, Georgia law, Atlanta law.
Oh,
because you have to know all these laws if you're out there on the streets and how to apply them in whatever situation. But so, you know, I never knew any Atlanta law. I'm from Louisiana.
Right.
You know, we have our own Cajun crap over here.
Yes.
So you go through the academy. When you get in the academy, the last 6 weeks, they put you in field training. So they assign you a field training officer.
Gotcha.
Okay. So what you do every 2 weeks for 6 weeks. So you get 3 different field training officers. The first 2 weeks you're with a guy or girl working at night shift, then one in the evening shift,
wait.
one in the...
It's the 80s.
Mhm.
Did you really get a girl?
I did not have one, no, but there were a few, but I'm being half-assed politically correct. But,
I appreciate that, but it is the 80s, you know, like
no,
you gotta tell
it was
like
tough.
there was probably one chick out there.
Now I'm gonna be hard pressed to think about it at that time. I know later in my career they became more prevalent.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but matter of fact, as the time went on, they also discontinued the heavy physical training as well and really dumbed it down. You know,
Hey.
yeah, that is what it is. You know, I mean, how come I have to do 30 pull-ups and you only have to do 12?
Right.
You know? But
We are the weaker, fairer sex.
that's true.
But we
fault
won't.
of your own.
But you know,
That's
another whole podcast.
Yeah. So anyway, so you go through this field training, and this field training,
And that's 6 weeks with 3 different field training officers.
yeah, at different shifts. So you learn how work, and it's different areas of the city. So you're
getting a taste of everything.
Yeah, you're getting these different environments, and then you're full blown. You haven't graduated from the academy yet, but you got the gun, you got everything, and you're out there. I had a very close dear friend of mine when he was in field training. He killed a man. And,
oh my gosh!
And chasing a guy in a stolen car. He and his partner get out, and they split. And the guy was sitting. It was in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting behind a brick wall, just waiting for my guy, to come. And when he had a feeling, my guy did. He came in real low, looked around the corner, and popped him.
Wow.
Yeah, and and that was during field training. So
yeah.
So then you go through this field training, and then you're assigned an area.
Since you brought that up, I just want to say I have some questions about that. When you're out there and you do shoot someone, or you are in a situation like, are you required to go to some type of counseling
Immediately?
I was going to say, I know the 80s are probably different than today.
No.
But even in the 80s, you were...
been there and done that. You go through you go to the...
You go to a shrink.
City, shrink, who is crazier than anybody else there. but you go to this guy.
Do you... Are you put on any type of leave after you shoot someone?
Yeah. You're...
So you shot someone, hon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, you are. You go to
okay.
You go through a psych eval, and then the doctor determines how long,
if you're fit for duty,
or tells you when to come back. It's typically 2 to 3 weeks.
Did that guy come back?
Huh?
The guy that shot somebody during field training?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't like, oh, fuck this. Like first day on the job, I killed someone.
Yeah. He killed...
I'm not doing this anymore.
5 or 6 more.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he was,
Okay.
He was aggressive.
Guys, I could do a whole show on his story. I wish he was sitting right here. He'd have a cigar, drinking with us. And he's a bad boy.
Okay.
But he was a great cop.
I want to do an episode on that.
Matter of fact, when I was in field training, the field training officer I was supposed to have this one night, he is off sick.
Mm-hmm.
So the sergeant at roll call tells me, you're riding with him, with this guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about.
Okay.
And the guy goes, the fuck he is. So, I don't do rookies. I'm not doing that. And I said, dude, I've been a cop before. This ain't my first merry-go-round.
Right.
I said, he goes, all right, that's good. That's good to hear. But no, I ain't fucking doing it, period. I don't want anybody in my car. I said, cool. And I didn't know this guy from Adam's House
Right.
Cat at the time.
Were you like offended, or were you just
I thought it was cool because I'd have probably had a very similar attitude, because once you get old and seasoned,
you're just like, I don't want to fuck with the baby cops.
Yeah, well, when you in Atlanta, when you're in the cop car, you don't have a partner.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, you're by yourself.
I would think in that town you would want a partner. Like I feel like it would be big enough to where
they should have, but they didn't have the manpower to do that.
I gotcha.
And so no, you were on your own.
They didn't have the manpower because the guy taking the applications was shredding everything.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
So okay,
exactly.
So you go through field training, graduate.
Yeah.
They do whatever. What do they pin a badge on you? They give you a medal. Like what's going on?
Yeah, you go to the
hoity-toity shit.
You go to City Hall, and the mayor's there blowing smoke up your ass and telling you how great it is here, and like they do everywhere.
Okay.
And
so you were like, okay, I'm in my own car now because you don't have a partner, or do they still do field training with you after?
No, after you do your 6 weeks
That's
and you
it.
graduate, I was assigned to an area called Zone 2. Get there.
And what is your official title at this point?
Police officer.
Police officer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Police officer. Show up there. You go in, and everybody's looking at you. They know you're new, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Go up to the window. Guy gives you a radio, gives you keys to a car.
And you're just like, holy shit, I got to go do this on my own.
You're at roll call, and the sergeant tells you what your beat is, where you're going to be that night.
Did you feel a little holy shit at that point?
I did, because I did not know the city of Atlanta.
Okay.
I didn't know where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
They gave you, at that time, they gave you a manila folder with a list of all these streets, and it's this crude map that's probably been handled by 1,000 people. It looks like a Sanskrit. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Are you kidding me? I'm like, and that's what scared me more than anything, is I didn't know where I was.
Because if you get a call, you're like, okay, it's going to take me about 30 minutes to get there because I'm looking at this fucking stone tablet of directions.
Right. One of my field training officers, I call him, he's my Puerto Rican prince. His name's Harry, and everybody knows Harry. Harry's from Puerto Rico. He's Jewish. And,
wow, that's a combination.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, and including me. I'm like, you're what? Are you fucking with me? But Harry was a great guy.
He's like, Mazel Tov.
Yeah, and
with a Puerto Rican accent.
And to this day, Harry's 10 years older than me, and to this day we're very close friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
He calls me his little brother, and I call him my big brother. And but Harry, we're driving through, we're working this area on day watch, and he would turn down an alley, and we'd drive down the alley. He'd stop the car real fast. He said, "Where are we at?" I'm like, I don't know, you're fucking driving. He goes, no, you need to know where the fuck you're at.
Yeah.
When I turn somewhere, know where you're at. Look at the street. Grab a street name, anything. He said, if I'd have turned in the street and we got in a firefight, how you going to tell people where to go?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's a great point. And he said, just keep it back of your head. And the sad thing is, about 10 years into my career, I knew Atlanta better than I know my hometown.
Wow.
I know every hole in that place.
Yeah. How long were you there overall?
27.
So did you do all your time there after you left Louisiana?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you go out on day one. Holy shit. You do your thing for a while. Like, how long do you think you would say it took for you to kind of be, quote unquote, comfortable where you didn't have that feeling every day when you were picking up your radio and doing roll call or whatever, where you're just like, okay, I got this. Like I'm comfortable with it.
Probably about 3 months.
Oh, that's quick. I feel like that's quick.
Yeah. Well, if I didn't have the experience behind me of dealing with people, see, that's a thing about working in a prison and in a jail is that you learn, if you're paying attention, you learn the criminal mind, somewhat of it. And what you're learning about there is the street experience.
You're learning the back end of it before you even go out there.
Right. And I'm learning that. And also, those guys, and I'm talking about prisoners, they teach you a valuable lesson. If you catch the right guys, like the old guys,
the OGs.
And they'll tell you how to act, how to, like when he said, man, you'll have a young buck come in here. And he said, he's going to call you this or that. He's going to ask you a question. He said, don't take your eyes off of him. Always look them in the eye when you talk to them. He said, all they're waiting for, they know if you don't look at them when you're talking to them, they know they can get to you. That's weakness to them. And
you were learning valuable information.
I was, but I was paying attention because I knew this was going to be my career.
Yeah.
And so I need to know every damn thing in the world about it. And so that really taught me a lot, and it's stayed with me to this day. You look at people. A bad guy is always looking for your weakness.
Yeah.
And if you're facing them and talking to them, that actually instills something into them, like, he ain't the one. There's somebody else.
Right.
I can find a weaker person. And but it took me about 3 months.
So
on the street.
After that point, you spent how long on the street?
I spent a year and a half on the street.
Did you decide you wanted to become a detective? Was that the next step?
No, the next step, I always wanted to be a detective.
Yeah. Because they were making like $15 an hour.
Yeah. but here's the thing. In Atlanta at that time, it was very, who do you know?
Nepotism.
Are you connected?
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody.
No,
I didn't know
right.
anything. I'm standing at roll call one day, and my sergeant is doing roll call, and he calls you by your name and tells you where you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this other gentleman walks in the room, whispers in his ear, and he said, "O'Neill, step out of roll call." I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't do
what
anything.
Did I do?
So
yeah, that's what I'm going to the principal's office.
Right. When the doorway, I'll see another cop that's standing there in plain clothes, and he looked like Hutch, Starsky and Hutch, right? Blonde. He's blonde, got his hair in a ponytail.
For our younger
and
listeners.
I'm like, okay, I've heard about this guy, but I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
So he's standing there, and so I walked back there where they tell me to go.
Wait, with a blonde ponytail, he had to be like in narcotics or something.
Yeah, he's an undercover guy.
Okay.
So I go back there, and he sits in a room with this other gentleman who was a lieutenant, and he asked me, he said, would you be interested in working undercover?
Oh my God.
I said, first thing on my mind was, first thing I said was, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
And then he said, okay. I said, what does all of that mean?
I'm going to stop you for a second. You're in Atlanta for, it sounds like maybe 2 years at this point. Since you first
all
got
combined,
there.
Yeah.
Do you have a wife? Do you have children? Like what?
No, I was single.
You were single. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like undercover work would be much harder if you had a family. Like, I don't know why I would think it's harder, but I feel like it would be harder.
Well, it is. It's very taxing. On many fronts.
Yeah.
But
so you're like, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
What do we do? Where do I sign up for this shit?
Well, and then my next question to them was, why me? And Jack, my partner, he became my partner. He said, "You don't know anybody here." I said, right. He said, "Guess what? Nobody knows you." I said, "All right, that's cool. That makes sense." He said, "Look, work your shift. Come meet me tomorrow at the zone 2 precinct." I said, "Okay." And he said, I said, "What do I wear?" He said, whatever
Khakis
the
and a
fuck you
polo.
want to wear. Just don't wear that goddamn blue suit you're wearing. I said, all right. I said, that's cool. So I show up the next day and we get in the car and we're riding around and he starts grilling me. He's asking me, he said, so what's a kilo of Coke cost? How much is a kilo? What's it? He wants to know that I know.
Would you know this by now in your career because you've dealt with it as a street cop or
Not necessarily.
beat cop? Okay.
Not necessarily.
Oh, because I mean, like, I'd be like, I don't know. You tell me.
No. I mean, he asked you about the dime bass. He asked you about everything. And at this particular time, crack cocaine hit the streets of Atlanta around November of 1987, right when I graduated the academy. When I was in my final weeks of the academy, they told us a new drug was coming and said it's going to hit like nothing in the world's ever hit. It's coming from California and coming from Miami. It's called crack cocaine. And so I was like, okay. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to be whatever. But no, that was
Fucked up. Yeah.
That was great. But so yeah, my guys asking me all these questions and he's grilling me about things and I'm answering everything pinpoint. He goes, he says, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
He said, next thing you need to work on, you're too clean. We got to dirty you up. You need to start growing some fucking hair. You need to say, I ain't got a fucking problem with that. He's all right.
Wait, I don't have to shave.
Yeah.
I don't have to wash my hair.
Yeah. He said, look, man, he said, we're gonna do a lot of work. He said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And,
Awesome.
And so
you were just excited. I can tell by the way you're talking about it. You were excited about it.
It was exciting time. I had so much fun with him and great partner. He was very, very controversial within the department.
Oh.
And he always drove really.
Here we go. He's not going to be politically correct anyway.
He always drove real high-end vehicles.
Yeah.
And,
like his personal vehicles?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he always had Vets, Porsches.
Oh.
And,
he was that guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're just starting our second week together.
And y'all are in some type of undercover vehicle, but not his vehicle?
No.
Okay.
Not his
I was
vehicle.
about to say.
No. So we our second weekend, he said, hey, we need to go to the Gold Club. Gold Club was
That's a strip club.
it was the number one strip club in the United States at that time. It was brand new.
And this was good strip club. This was not shitty strip club.
No, high end.
Oh no.
High end.
Very
yes.
high end. I mean, it's like walking into a Playboy shoot.
Okay.
I mean,
and they're like doing lines of coke off the chick's ass or whatever.
not at that time.
Okay.
That's
Later.
going to come in a little while. So he says, we got to go there. I need to talk to the manager about something. I said, all right, let's go.
And you're just hanging.
So,
You're just like,
well,
I don't mind seeing titties while I'm at work.
He's the lead. He's the lead. He calls the shots. And so we go there and we speak to the manager, to Tim, and Jack says, man, let's go on the floor. I said, all right. So we go on the floor and he calls this girl over, a stripper. And at that time, lap dances were $5.
What?
$5
at the
time.
most exclusive strip club.
Oh, that was it. That
fucking $5.
And it, totally nude. It wasn't just topless.
Yeah.
So he calls the girl over and comes over and she
Wait,
dances.
what?
I just
Like nothing?
Nothing. Totally nude.
totally nude.
So he calls
To
her
me, I'm like, I picture strip clubs just being totally nude. Is there any other
well,
way?
it used to be topless only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were at the forefront of
But
when it
not
was
at
going.
the Gold Club.
Yeah,
It's all the shit.
yeah,
You can see all of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Everything.
So you're just standing there and he calls the girl over.
He calls the girl over.
He's
and-
like, here's 10. Give him 2 lap dances.
They work you. They $5, a couple of ones and a garter belt. She'll take her top off, and then it works down, and then he gets her over to the table, and she's dancing, and she's rubbing on me, rubbing on him. I was like, so this is what undercover works like. Where the song ends.
Where's
over.
the downside, right?
Well, the song ends, it's over, and she starts putting her clothes back on. And he goes, and her name was Dane, Dane. That's her dancer name. And he said, Michelle.
Oh.
And she smiled and she kissed him. It was his wife.
You're lying.
I remember you telling me the story. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You are lying.
No. And hey, they're still married to this day.
Are you?
They've been married for
Is she still stripping?
35. Oh, no. No.
Nobody wants her to.
No.
Oh.
She's 60 years old.
Yeah. There's a point where your titties get like pancake titties
but let me-
and you're not stripping anymore.
But let me tell you, it's
Colin said he's here for it.
you know, I mean, them girls making $1,500 to $2,000 every night.
Jeez.
Every night.
Are they having to cross the line?
No.
Like, are they having to?
No, but of course, they're the ones that do.
Yeah,
course, you know,
of
that's
course,
everywhere
yeah.
in the world. I mean, you've seen Sopranos, but
Actually, I haven't.
yeah.
What?
Oh,
No, I
seen,
never
like, one or
watched
two
it.
episodes.
oh,
You have
don't
to.
start. You'll lose a couple of months of your life.
Okay. All right. Everybody in the room is like shaking their head that I need to watch this,
Yeah.
and they're shunning me. Okay.
But so anyway, that was my introduction.
That
to,
was your what's it called? Baptism by fire.
yeah, that was awesome. It was
Oh
great.
my God.
It was great.
Do you think
And-
he did that to every new one that came in?
Well,
It's like, you have to meet my wife first.
he got upset with me a little bit. We went into that precinct a couple of nights later, and he's a smart ass. He's a great guy. He's always fucking with me about stuff. And we're all the uniform cops standing around, and we're all just talking and shit. And I said, so Jack, let me ask you something. For $5, your wife will take off everything she has, and the guy gets to see everything you see. Yeah, I said, what would she do for 10? Dude, that's fucked up. I said, no, it's fucked up as how I met your wife, right? That's not normal, just so you know.
Okay. So how long did you do? Like, I want to do a whole episode on your undercover, but
Yeah.
that's not today. How long did you do undercover?
About 8 years.
Straight without a break?
Yeah.
Wow. And in any of that point in time, did you get into a relationship on your own, a personal relationship?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got married. My daughter, heck, I guess I was under about a year and a half or so, and got married and had my one and only treasure.
Okay.
And
you stayed in another however many years after that.
Mhm.
Did it have an effect on your relationship? And again, if I'm getting too personal, you don't have to answer.
Very valid question. Great question. It did, but it was because of the hours that I was
Yeah.
working morning thing. I would typically go in about 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, get off about 4 or 5. And of course, anything can change and all of that. So the hours, it was crazy. It was all over.
I feel like that would be any line of detective, undercover.
It is exactly
Yeah.
right. Exactly right.
So you did it for 8 years, and then were you just like, I can't see any more vaginas for $5?
No. Well, by the end of that, they were up about 20 then, damn inflation. But the time came, and I went ahead and put in for detective work, okay, as investigative work. So I did, and I noticed a bunch of young people were selected in front of me. And and this is right when computers came along. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking like, wait, they don't have the creds this is bullshit. And I'm like, and I was watching some of the people that were going, and I knew it was a lot of nepotism. I said, all right. So I emailed the chief of police, who was the first female chief of police in the United States of America. Her name was Beverly Harvard. And I emailed her.
So we have email by this point in time.
Okay. I emailed her my dismay about what happened.
That's a perfect way to describe
I said,
it. My dismay.
I didn't, I thought I was way more competent and
seasoned and had so much more experience. And she's like, right, you don't know Excel.
Well, you know what? She emailed me back And she said, I understand your feelings, and I promise you will be on the next list.
Awesome.
So I finished reading that email. My major calls me, tells me to come to his office. I'm going to his office. He sit down and he says, first thing, don't you ever fucking email the chief again. That's against, you're supposed to go through this chain of command.
Do not go over my head.
He said, don't you ever send her a letter again. Don't write her a letter again. I said, I didn't write her a letter. I sent her an email. And he goes, okay, motherfucker. And he said, all right. He said, don't ever do it again. Because she called him and said, why is this guy doing this? But anyway, so yeah, I went to detectives like a couple of months later.
I just really like from the beginning your tenacity, guys shredding resumes and paperwork, and you're still following up and bird dogging it. And now, you know, first female chief of police in the United States.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, look, why am I getting? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. You know, my dad taught me a long time ago, you know, if you don't stand up for yourself, don't expect anybody else to, right?
Amen.
And so I'm not asking for anything unreasonable. I'm asking for fairness. And be noted, too, she was also an African-American first as well.
Wow.
So many levels. She broke the glass ceiling on many levels. But beautiful, beautiful lady. I mean, you pull up a picture of her. Very, very attractive lady. And but no, you never ask for more than what you deserve. Yeah. You know? And
fairness, I think, is the most important part.
Right. And I knew I was within my bounds, so I felt very comfortable doing that. I'm not speaking out of turn. Yeah. You know, so if I'm met with rejection, then I let you know that it's not you. Right. It's them. It's somebody else. And you know what? You can't control that. Right. So then at that point, you may want to take a different direction or somewhere else. You know, that's why they have a very large attrition rate at a place like Atlanta. They go to the different outlying areas to work because they're not getting or what they perceive as a fair shake there. Yeah. And that's all over. Baton Rouge has that.
I feel like that would be everywhere. Just for everywhere. It is. So how long were you a detective from that point on all the way to the end of your career?
Till the last 3 years. And I left homicide and went into the bomb unit working with a bomb dog.
That sounds fun.
It was an exit strategy. It's I wanted to
I feel like you would need some time to wrap up your cases. Like you can't just stop that.
Well, I knew I was moving. I knew I wasn't staying in the Atlanta area. And believe me, this wasn't my idea. It was much more astute gentleman than myself. And he told me to start looking at an exit strategy. So being that I was going to move, and he said, you know, you can be here doing something else and attend to all of your cases. And then, you know, when you retire, you'll be done with the brunt of it. And it's great. So that's what I did.
So when you became a detective, did you start out as a homicide detective?
No, I started out in a brand new unit. First time it ever happened. This unit, the prototype was called the guns unit. And all our task was to get all of the illegal guns off the street that we could.
How long did you stay in that?
I'll stay there about 7 or 8 months. And then,
that's
not long.
Quick.
Yeah,
were you just like, I just want to see dead people now? Like, what happened?
Yeah, exactly. I see them in my sleep. I just soon see them in person.
What?
He got all the guns off.
Oh, Harold said he got all the guns off the street in 7 months. Now he's like, what do I do?
Healed. Yeah.
Yes. What do I turn to now? I hear crack cocaine's coming down the line. No.
Yeah.
So did you stay homicide until you went into that final exit strategy?
No.
No?
One of my deputy chiefs, Pete, he dear friend of mine, he had a saying for me. He always told people, he said, this guy doesn't need a desk conventional deaths, it's got to be on wheels.
Yeah.
Because he cannot stay put. And so
I could see that about you.
Yeah. Well, I'm always searching for
new challenges. So what I did, you do not want life to get boring.
No, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. So what I did within homicide unit is the adult missing person unit. Okay. That means if you're 17 or older in Georgia and you come up missing, that's where it goes, to the missing persons unit.
Okay.
In homicide. I was it.
You were the one.
The only one.
Mm-hmm.
That was an average of 1,150 cases a year.
Wow. That many people went missing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, here's the kicker.
What?
Less than half of 1% of those are actually missing.
Really?
Yeah. Like you see on Facebook, these people post these pictures of this 16-year-old girl, she's missing. No, she ain't missing. She's playing.
She up at her boyfriend's
She's out going.
house.
Yeah, she's out doing what she does. And same way you get these guys all the time, 23, 24 years old. Mama hadn't seen him in a couple of days. Said he'll be back when the check hits. He's gonna come back. Don't worry. He's out playing around.
Right.
And so it's rare. Now, what the kicker is, as a homicide detective, is you recognize when a case comes across your desk and you look at the totality of the circumstances and you start making the phone calls and you say, that's when you go to the other detectives and said, this body's going to show up.
This is for real.
Yeah, this dude's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone or she's gone, what have you. And I had a real knack for that. And it's a matter of reading through the bullshit, making the appropriate, when you get a missing persons report in the morning, typically every morning there's 10, 15 of them.
That's
and
insane.
You look at them. Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. There's a lot that aren't really missing.
Yeah.
But just come.
But you still have to do the investigation.
If I showed up at work every morning and there was 10 fucking new things put on my desk every day, I'd just be like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah.
Well, I learned how I formulated a plan of action that first thing you do when you get each case is you check the jails and the surrounding little counties and the jails. Y'all got this guy, and I can do about 80% of this on my computer.
Right.
Any bookings, fresh bookings, whatever. I find out these people's aliases, look at all this crap. Check with the local hospitals, and not there. Okay. Where's baby mama live? Where's his second live and all of that. But you just get this innate feeling, of doing it.
Yeah.
And now out of that average of 1,150 a year, there's so many of them that are repetitive that'll come up.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, yeah. You'll have these little 18.
Timmy is not missing. Why do y'all keep calling us?
Yeah, exactly.
He is down at the arcade.
Yeah. So what I would do the homicide. Then I brought a guy in. He wanted to do missing persons, and he came in, and so I went back to doing nothing but homicides again. And I did that for years, and then I would transfer out into the fugitive unit, and I was part of the FBI fugitive task force.
You did all the shit.
Yeah, I did.
You literally did all the shit.
I was everywhere.
That's fun, though.
Oh, I had a blast. I was very fortunate, but I was fortunate because I attribute that to I always kept my nose clean. I always did my job, and I didn't make enemies. I didn't burn bridges.
You weren't a cocky motherfucker.
No, that's what my people would take me back into homicide. All said, hey, I want to come back. Bam, I'm right back. I'm on the cases. Perfect. And so I did the fugitive thing. I went in and out of there a couple of times. Like I said, I was on the task force, and all my team did was what we call level 1 crimes, which were rapists and murderers. That's all we searched for. And being an adjunct of the FBI, we were able to go statewide or nationwide. Wherever this dude was hanging out,
you can cross the lines.
Yeah, we're going to get him.
So, were you on the fugitive team for Derek Toddley?
I was in, yes.
Oh,
Yes, I was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how you ended up arresting.
Caught him on Bankhead Highway. Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with the Derek Todd Lee case, give that a little Google. We have not covered it on the show, but we need to because that's
we
crazy.
finally watched that documentary
The Crazy
like a couple
Louisiana.
months ago.
Yeah.
So it's that, and then it's the other serial killer,
Was it the
Gillis.
Gillis. He lived by my grandma's house.
So I did do.
Went to my high school.
I did do that one.
Yeah. I had no idea he lived right down the street from my
His
grandma.
name started with the S. Was it Sean?
Yeah, Sean Gillis.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I have some kind of funny questions
All right.
for you.
Let's go.
I really I want to do this again. So I'm going to come to y'all's house next time and I'm going to bring all my equipment
Holy cow.
and we'll do that.
That's
Yeah.
going to take a production team.
Or y'all can come back here and just stay and then we can, do that.
If you call them in the fall, I have my deer on the front porch eating corn.
They're his pet deer. You're
I'm
not allowed
serious.
to kill them.
Wait, he has pet deer?
Pet deer.
Oh, nice.
He feeds them. You
my
do not
aim
harm
is I'm going
them.
to have them eat them out of my hands. Should be this year.
Yeah.
They're Snow White, the two of them.
Oh.
She has birds. He has deer.
Yeah.
The old Snow White, the original
The rich.
1930. Whatever.
Yeah. Not the woke Snow White.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. We're going to do a little Hollywood.
All right.
All right. Is good cop, bad cop a real thing?
Yes.
Which one did you play?
We alternate.
Oh, okay. You weren't always just good cop or bad cop.
Well, it depends on
The situation.
what. Yeah, the situation depending on how the suspect is acting
Yeah.
and how your initial meeting with this person goes. Because anytime you meet anybody, you get this feel like, okay,
Yeah.
I could be a friend of,
Mm-hmm.
and the other guy, my cohort may feel a different way about it as
So
well.
then y'all just exit.
Yeah.
Who's good cop? Who's
Yeah.
bad cop?
Right.
Okay. All right. So when you watch cop shows on TV, like I said, we're going Hollywood, they usually have a bar or a hangout.
Yes, we have one.
Is that a real thing?
It is. Manuel's Tavern.
Okay. When y'all close a big case, do y'all go there to celebrate?
No, we go there every night.
Oh, okay. So to celebrate closing a big case, what do you do? Go to the tavern? Or do y'all go to Roost Chris and have a big
No,
steak dinner? Or you're just
no.
high five, let's get to somebody else tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just like we did our job.
Right. We have a, you have a moment when you come out of the interrogation,
Mm-hmm.
and you're jacked up and you feel so great about it. And you just, I don't know, it's just a, you don't
There's no formal celebration.
no. Mm-mm.
You just, yeah.
No. Now, you know what cops do after, when you work as a street cop, you work in your beat and all.
Yeah.
After work, several of the guys and gals will get together and you have what's called choir practice.
Oh.
Now, we had that here when I was with East Baton Rouge Parish, too. It's a universal thing. And they call it, where they came from, I don't know. It's beyond my years.
You did not invent it.
But no, the guys, everybody goes and gets a 6-pack, whatever, goes sit out in the parking lot. They got, bring a little old lounge chair.
Are you
and sit
doing this
there.
in the police station parking lot?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All
And
right. I ain't
now-
mad at it.
Now, when I was...
Choir practice.
When I was with the sheriff's department, we had a little building outside of the prison. It was like a, not a VFW hall, it was like a police union hall, a little
Yeah.
dilapidated
Yeah.
place. But you just go sit there and you unwind and you just talk police shit.
And you need that.
You do. It's an unwinding. It's
And you need to be with people who are experiencing the same thing.
right of like
Because
mind.
you can't just go home and dump this shit on your
Nobody
family.
gets it. Nobody gets it. It's and that's the biggest mistake. Two biggest mistake cops make is either they internalize things and they don't go to these things, these outings, and get it out and talk to people. So they internalize it, and that becomes a danger, mental danger. Or they go home and they spew it all out at their wife or significant other, causing issues because they don't know what you're talking about. You're coming in with a whole really negative energy.
Yes.
And,
I can't imagine.
Yes,
I feel like it would destroy lots of relationships.
Well, here's the thing: what people don't, by and large, understand about cops, that when I say cop at any level,
Mhm.
detective, whatever it is, from the time you start your career, all you deal with is the negative.
Mm-hmm. You're seeing people on their
going-
worst fucking day.
Right. You're
Yeah.
going to domestic calls. You're stopping somebody, give them a ticket. You stop somebody, give them a DUI.
Yeah.
You're taking their kids from them. You know, you don't get invited to the parties.
No.
You get invited to make things right.
Mm-hmm.
And that over a long period of time is detrimental to anybody's psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I firmly believe people shouldn't be cops more than 20 years. And that's a lot there, because I'm going to tell you, it's you're constantly dealing with the negative, and
Yeah.
the human mind's not meant for that.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. Okay. What is the funniest excuse a suspect has ever given you for whatever crime? Never been asked that one before?
No, I haven't. There's so many.
Just pick one. Just pick one and tell me.
I don't know. I mean, well, we had a double murder. I mean, it was a murder. One brother murdered another brother.
Okay.
Thanksgiving, mama's kitchen table.
Wow.
These guys were in their 30s. One brother stabbed his brother, killed him because he took the last turkey leg.
Wow.
That's not an excuse, but that's a cool story.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
should
There's
almost
only
never
two.
happen. Yeah, you talk about mess up a holiday.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Was
Oh my
mama, I mean,
God.
there was at mama's house, so was
Yeah, yeah.
mama there?
Oh
Like,
yeah, it was the whole family was
Was
there.
she like, oh my God, my baby dead?
There was screaming. It was,
Yes.
ooh, it was ugly.
Imagine Thanksgiving now. Everybody in the future being like, that
Mm-mm.
one Thanksgiving, man, we can never have turkey
Oh
again.
my God.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't touching that fucking leg. No.
Who wants the last leg?
Not me. Run.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay. I could just go on and on for hours with you, but we're going to stop this episode. And thank you so much for doing this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I literally want to do it again sooner than
Yeah.
however many years it's been since we got together.
Absolutely.
Harold, thank you for camera switching. Colin, thank you for being in the Peanut Gallery. Paige, thank you for being here. Paula, thank you. You did talk on the microphone.
By the way, I believe, if my recollection is right, this is the first time Harold has ever been in the room when I've done an episode.
Oh.
Yeah, so
and
it's special.
He was
Yes.
very quiet too.
I like it.
Yeah. Usually Harold, when he comes in the room, before he started camera switching, he would be like, I just want to sit in the background and I'm not going to talk.
Yeah.
But he would talk a lot.
Yeah.
So he has, I'd be like, you have to be mic'd if you want to talk a lot.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. So let me do a little housekeeping with my people here. Y'all know we're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So please go subscribe. We are on Facebook. We have a page and we have a group, a private group, Gritsters, and y'all go join. You can interact with us. We're on TikTok, if that's still even a thing. And we have a website, www.gritswithasideofmurder.com. You can go there and you can get swag. You can also reach out to us by email through there. All right. So if you really want to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, Patreon.com/grits, and help us out. And we appreciate everybody who is a Patreon member. All right. Anything else? You guys have anything? Any last words?
Thank you so much for hosting.
Yeah.
us.
Oh my gosh.
You're
For inviting
phenomenal.
us.
I just appreciate y'all being here so
Oh,
much.
well, we love coming here. You know, it's and Paige here is always. Have you heard anything from Tammy?
I've been
Would you
begging
like-
him since we left the
Oh
last
my
time
gosh.
to come
Okay,
here
so
again.
before y'all leave, we
Yeah.
need to set up another time
Yes.
to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Set it up because he's
Yes.
always like, I don't want to like.
Oh God, no! I don't
Yeah,
want to.
That's
So I don't want to bother you.
and
I'm
he
just
doesn't
like,
want to. But he's so like very good with like boundaries and stuff. And doesn't
no.
want to bother
I'm just
anybody.
like, I don't want to. I would have you on, once a month if you would come.
I know. That's what I was saying. I'm like, you're the perfect guest to come on the show.
Well,
he is.
I love what I did. I would do it again tomorrow if I was able. I wish I didn't time out, with old age. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I was extremely fortunate. I was born. All the circumstances just fell into place,
Fell into place.
and I had a career that was just crazy.
Wow.
just crazy.
I want to hear more about it. We do need to do this
Yeah,
again
yeah.
sooner.
We'll get into the whole.
You can get into the bodyguarding for celebrities and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could do a show just on that.
Oh God, yeah.
Look, I didn't even, honestly, I had so many questions and like, I didn't even scratch the surface.
See,
So,
we're gonna do that next time because
Yeah.
you're such a wonderful storyteller.
yes, he is.
Wow.
All right. Again, thank all of y'all so much. Hey, tell your mom and him to listen, and we're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.